People would come and they would go crazy for the weirdest things that I just, dream up, and I'm like, who's gonna buy this?
Marika Kandelaki is a Georgian-born American artist and designer, the co-founder of Untitled in Motion. This brand offers clothing made out of fabrics with colorful prints and designs created by Marika. We dive into her story of leaving her native Georgia at the age of 16 for the USA, learning the nitty-gritty of the fashion design industry in New York, and the importance of self-expression in her work. Marika Kandelaki,
Yes.
welcome to the Reme Show. I am so thrilled to have you here in my house. You are an artist, you're a designer, and now you're the owner of a fashion brand.
Yeah, co-owner.
Co-owner of a fashion
yeah.
brand, Untitled in Motion.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to unpack all of that.
Yeah.
And you are Georgian-American artist. Or are you American-Georgian artist? What comes
Yeah,
first?
well, that's the thing. I feel like, I think the foundation is definitely Georgian, because I left from Tbilisi when I was 16. So I think my psychic space really got structured here. So everything I do definitely reflects back to here in terms of, motifs, even the intensity, the styles, the gesture of it, just the way I do stuff is definitely
A Georgian passion.
something, yeah, Georgian passion.
But do you ask yourself this question, who you identify yourself as?
I think it's really in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because it's when I'm in US, I'm constantly nostalgic for here, and I'm always oh my God, I need to go. Then I come here, and then I'm like, okay, I need to go back. So it's really depends where I am. When I'm in US, I'm I'm Georgian. I come here, I feel really American.
That's quite interesting. I guess I feel the same when I go back to my home country.
You
of
do,
Uzbekistan.
right?
Do you remember, what was Georgia like when you were leaving this country? Was it 1996, you said?
1996 is when I left, yeah.
What was it like?
So when I left, it was 90s, really hard, difficult, So it was no electricity, no water, food on and off, very survival mode. But I think when I speak to all my friends, my circle, I had a really creative circle of friends. And in that period of I guess you can call it of darkness, physical darkness, because there was no electricity, but also hopeless time, it was really creative. We would come up with weirdest games and film things or pretend to film things, set the theater a place and write, and I don't even know, we did so much stuff that it was an amazing time for me, actually.
So not having electricity forced you and your friends at the time to come up with
hyper creativity. Yeah. It was we would even be excited, this is so weird, right? Because our parents were probably so stressed, but the electricity would be turned off and we're oh my God, finally the TV is off, so we don't have to listen to politics or something. Everything goes quiet, and now we can play and laugh and just gather together, and all the neighbors would gather together too, and it would just be very little means with which you can create this joyful social context,
Was there anything in the shops back then? Could you go and buy things? Or?
In 90s?
Yeah.
90s was very
Nothing.
minimal,
Yeah.
Me and my mom would just try to go and see what we can discover in the mall, a Soviet mall, Univermag, and it would be this weird outdated products, which was really amusing to us.
Like what?
Hair clips that are just so I don't know, strange stockings and things that are just what is this?
Anything was of value. It's you found something.
Yeah, it would be fun more than a need. You wouldn't find something you really need there. It would just be finding some weird brooch or something,
So
Yeah.
you were 16 and then you're moving to America. Was it because your parents were there? And I mean, it must have been like winning a lottery ticket at the time to go to America.
It was quite a like big deal. So my father, who is an artist, he moved to US in 89. Yes, and in 89 because he was invited for an exhibition there, and that's kind of like when Soviet Union fell apart, so he ended up staying there. It fell apart while he was there, basically, you know. And then the Civil War started here, so he just stayed in US in Philadelphia. And then
Was he sending you like jeans and stuff?
yeah,
yeah?
jeans,
Oh,
a
wow.
Barbie. But thing is, like, people wouldn't travel back and forth then, so it was like how would just like it was hard to send. It would be like once in a while, something, you know. So even that, yeah, not much because no one would go. And so I moved. So he took my brother first because my brother is older. And then it was like my time in terms of green card. You know, it's like, okay, you should go now because it's time to go to college perhaps. And then I had to be under 16 to get a paper. So it was just this abrupt time a little bit. I wasn't ready for it. But also it's like this exciting prospect, you know, like no one would go there at that period. So it's like, I felt very grateful, but very like torn away from here, like just like a little too early or something.
Did you speak the language? Did you speak English?
Yeah, I studied English, growing up. But of course, it's like, it wasn't like practiced, you know, it was kind of like more just, I had the knowledge, I didn't have the practice of it.
What I'm trying to understand is how this contrast, you know, you're arriving from a post-Soviet country that is going through civil wars, there's poverty, there's literally no electricity here in Georgia, and you're arriving to the center of capitalism where, you know, shops are full of food and things. How was that for you? Was it kind of shocking, amazing, sad? How kind of...
Definitely novel, right? Because you're like all these products that you kind of have like maybe seen in magazines or something, and now you can see them. I still couldn't afford them, you know, because my father's an artist. Like he didn't have like that much, whatever, money. It was fine, but it wasn't. It was kind of like a little precarious, right? But it was definitely like, yeah, like capitalism is all shiny and impressive. But when I started to study there, because I went to college a little early, I graduated early here, and I had a big cultural shock because I found, I don't know, people were very different, you know, like Americans. I just didn't know how to relate at all.
Smiling all the time?
Yeah, no, smiling, but there was like no one was friendly, and my English wasn't so good, so I would always like need some help. You know?
They were not friendly.
They were not really friendly, but also maybe because where I ended up, you know, was this
community college.
No, like a design college, Moore College, I don't know, in Philadelphia, and it was, I don't know, I wasn't happy there. I can tell you that.
You were not happy.
Yeah, some kind of like weird group of girls that were just like, you know, mean girls. So I entered design college there, and I did 1 year, and then I was like, I'm out of here. So I came back to Georgia.
You did?
I just ran away, because that's the first time I lived with my father, because my parents are divorced. So it was kind of like culture shock, like a family. Like I was like, I'm not used to this. Like this is all too weird. So I came back here and whatever. Then I got married, you know, like Georgian style.
You were 17.
Yeah, I got married because I met someone, and I was like, if I go back to US, I want to go as like independent person, meaning not dependent on my father. So then like legally I became independent, because when you're married, you know. So then we went back together with my ex-husband. Yeah.
So you studied fashion design, and you became a fashion designer after that?
I found this job. I was working for this woman who was making custom clothes for rock stars, so like Steven Tyler and stuff. So we would make, and it was a really fun job. It paid kind of not well, but for first, you know, second job, it's okay. So we would make leather garments for like
rock stars.
Yeah, rock stars, but like by hand, and it would be like one-off
What did you learn from that experience?
From that experience, actually, well, I mean, one, working on leather and just kind of like being really flexible in the moment, sculptural, because leather is really sculptural. You're like cutting and almost like gluing and then sewing, so it was kind of like making almost
Because it's
like this.
not flexible, yeah?
Yeah, it's flexible, but you have to like stick it together, almost like when you're making like mock-up, paper mock-up. So it was that, but also, I don't know, I just learned looking at Elise, what was her name? Elise Oberland. Just how to like conduct a business and kind of like learning how she's talking to people. Also how like you gotta like manage yourself when you're just self-motivated or like, you know, you run your own.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah,
So
and
run
it's a
your own
little bit
business.
stressful, and she would be stressed out. And then she would be excited, and it just would be like all of it. It was just like me and her, you know. So it was really.
Oh, just the two of you.
Yeah, and it was quite.
So
it was
you
quite an
were,
experience.
like
yeah.
she was doing. You were like her assistant in
Yeah, it was in her studio where she also lived.
in New York.
Yeah, in Tribeca.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like then, you know, like the early, what was it,
When
2000s.
I think of Tribeca, I'm thinking about
Yeah.
all the like secondhand stores, clothing.
Then it
and-
was just empty, kind of. I mean, it was like
Really?
artist lofts and like some furniture stores, and yeah, we would like stay up and make like that kind of like excitement and intensity when you gotta finish something, and it's fun, and we would just like play loud music, have some wine or whatever, and just like get shit done, stuff done.
And by the way, what happened to husband number one?
Gone. So he was gone 2 years after, like really fast.
Right.
I was like, okay, this is not.
He
no.
did he stay in America?
Yeah,
or-
he's still there. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah. So that was done early on, and yeah, that was like early thing. But at that point,
But
yeah,
you
then
had
I was
your
independent.
independence.
Yeah, I had my independence. So
gave you that marriage gave
Yeah.
you confidence that you can, you know,
yeah, I was
be
kind of
an
like
independent
in a
woman.
city alone or something. I mean, my mom moved there then to New York, so then I wasn't
How
alone. but-
amazing it is to
Yeah.
be like in your early 20s in New York, in Manhattan.
Yeah, it was fun.
All that, yes.
Yeah.
It's just so much. I don't know, when I think of New York, I think it's full of this amazing, creative people. So how far are you from actually establishing your own brand? Untitled in Motion, which
Yeah.
actually I love the title, and I want to ask you about it. But how far are you? We're like now
At
in
that
New
point,
York when
yeah.
you're in your 20s, yeah.
You know, it's weird, right? They ask this question because it kind of very close, but then in terms of time, very far. But actually, at that point, I was almost, I could have done it then, but it was just no, I didn't have enough knowledge or not the right partner. Like, that's really important. And yeah, I think just the experience. I didn't have enough experience, but I was kind of already skilled for it, I think, in a way.
Do you think you knew somewhere like at the back of your head that that's what you want to do, or not really at that stage?
Not really, because at that point I was really into like art, you know, like kind of just costume. I was like, I like to make weird costumes, but then also like painting and sculpture and stuff. And I knew that, like, looking at Elise, who I was working with, I'm like, this is really hard. Like, I don't know. And she came from money. She was like from Norwegian, I don't know, some kind of people. Her family would always send her money, you know. So I was like, well, I don't have that, so I guess it's not for me, you know. So yeah, so it took a while after that. Yeah.
But when you went back to doing fine art and your sculptures, were you selling? Was it? Were you able to kind of sustain yourself in New York by selling your art?
No, never actually. I always had to in parallel work and fashion jobs, so I would freelance. But that's when I decided that I wanted to like make art and can use my fashion to support myself, like fashion skill and experience. And that's exactly the time after I left that first job, I rerouted to textile design. So I was, okay, I'm like, fashion is like just tech packs and this boring office stuff is not for me. And I do have the skill, like painting and computer also, actually. So then I decided, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do textile design, because I saw there's those space for that in the industry. Like there was niche, yeah. And with the offices I freelanced in, people would just invite this textile like print studios, they're called, and they would come and show you their collection, and you would buy it and spend a lot of money. Companies would just like spend so much money, and I was like, I need to get into this. So
The companies would spend a lot of money on
purchasing
what?
the original textile design prints.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is when you figured out this is where you can actually make
Yeah, and I was like, this is
living.
my overlap. And I slowly worked towards that direction. But I tried at that point early on in mid-2000s to open my print studio, like textile design studio. But I think I wasn't skilled enough. I did it, and then I was like, it was just like not, I think I was just not good enough, you know? And then I quickly tried it, and I realized, no, I need to freelance more. Doing the textile design, but like working in for someone, you know? So I did that for many years until like 5 years ago about is when I opened my print studio, textile design studio. This is another company. I have two companies.
How does it work? You do some design on the computer, and then it gets printed on fabric.
Yeah, actually, first I usually do it by hand first, then on a computer, and then it gets printed. Like for example, this.
I just love that top.
So
this
just
is like
clean
one
up.
of your.
Yeah, this is the Untitled in Motion. Also, this.
So tell me about Untitled in Motion. What is? I really like. Anything with motion in it. I like the.
So
title.
Untitled in Motion, the name came Virginia, my the co-founder. She felt like it was very like open, like an untitled painting, a piece of art, which is always in motion because our company is all about art. Like prints that I create and
motion because when you look at I just want to tell my listeners and viewers that when I met you not long ago at a movement theater here in Tbilisi, and your friend, our common friend who introduced us, Eka, she immediately opened this Instagram page and she was like, look, this is her fashion. I'm like, I love that dress. That's my dress, you know, that one. And I was like, wow, the colors. And how would we describe it to people who haven't seen it? So we can look at your top. There's a lot of motion, but it could also be interpreted as like a peacock tail.
Yeah,
you know? And you are very, very bold with your colors. Who is this fashion for? Is it more kind of self-expression for you? Or did you find a certain kind of audience for these bold prints?
Yeah, I think it's really both because I feel like I sort of came to this boldness by doing textile design for a while, like having my other company, which is just textile design that I sell prints to brands, right? So
who do you sell to?
I mean, anyone from like Christian Louboutin to like Gap and Uniqlo and
really, they buy your fabric?
Yeah, prints.
They're prints,
and then they print them themselves.
So they buy like templates.
Yeah, like it's kind of like a design, a file. They get like a fabric and a file, and then the right to use it. You know.
Do you get the credit or not?
No. Yeah. So in the Untitled Emotion, I get a credit.
Okay.
That was but there you just sell it, and it's actually good money, and it's a fun job. You know, it's like you're making prints. But basically, during the Moonshake Studio process, like establishing that.
That is your print
studio, which I run with my husband, Nino. And we really early, like first, you know, like I have like crazy ideas, but then I'm like, oh, I need to be a little more commercial. And then whenever I would do the commercial stuff, those prints would not sell, like projecting towards some kind of commercial, like boring stuff. And everyone would come, you have this trade shows, you know, like this fabric shows. So people would come and they would go crazy for the weirdest things that I just, dream up. And I'm like, who's going to buy this? They would buy it. People would buy all kinds of brands,
But
like,
when you design thinking, oh, that's what they want. That's
yeah,
what
they
might
don't
want.
what
It's
you
so
think they want.
Interesting. How strange.
Yeah.
Because
So
do you think you are, when you're telling yourself that's what they want, you're not really following your creative calling?
Exactly. We come to the point, right?
Okay.
So they create, so this is the thing. Like you really, you gotta learn, you gotta like twist around a little bit, like adapting to other, in design, adapting to other aesthetics. I think you learn a lot from that. But it's really important like to follow that instinct and check it, constantly check it if like, oh, is this a correct instinct? But if you have it, like, for me, it's really like when I do the prints that I actually think are fun and interesting, those are the ones that sell, and they could be the weirdest ones.
So going back to the question, who is this fashion for?
Yeah.
I can see that you're wearing your, obviously, do you do it for yourself first and foremost, or you wear it because you want people to see what's on offer?
Yeah, so when I create it, I do, I have to, it's not all the designs are for, not all silhouettes are for me, because in the silhouettes, we try to kind of like direct
really
to different
skinny,
people, like,
girls.
what is it?
Oh, they're really skinny. I'm looking at that dress, I'm thinking, it probably
no,
looks
no.
really good because she's really skinny.
No,
you know that
really,
red-blue dress?
But some of them I'm like, oh, I'd never wear that because I don't like when something is tight here and there. And then some other silhouettes, I'm like, okay, that's for me. But it's like we really try to, like make designs that are good for many different bodies, different fits, Plus our silhouettes are really like simple. We try to keep them simple, so they're like diverse. So when I design the prints, I always try to, just kind of be like true to myself. Make sure it's like I'm excited about it. Like, are we excited about it? Like we're just always like, I do it first and we'll look at it. Then, just kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of hard when you design collection.
Yeah.
First, you just go by instinct, then you have to be like, oh, is this gonna look good on this fabric, da-da-da-da-da. And then you proceed, right? Then you proceed with the line. But I kind of, I do wear everything because...
I can.
No, because I want to also try, like kind of make sure that I like it. So I always, whenever the new season comes up, I want to wear everything to see like is this practical? Is this print too loud? Kind of like to be part of the
process.
Make myself part of the process so I can improve it,
Apart from designing the print, fabric, colors, silhouettes, as you said, so you are also designing the actual item? It's yours, or is it in collaboration with Victoria, your partner?
Virginia,
Virginia, sorry.
Yeah, so Virginia mostly, she's an amazing...
What's her full name?
Virginia Craddock.
Okay.
Yeah, so Virginia has a great business vision. She's an amazing businesswoman. But also she's a designer, that she taught herself everything. And she at the moment we're scraping up everything because it's just like a few of us in the company doing so much stuff all ourselves. So she does the silhouettes, but we do it together. We're like, like she'll be like, okay, will this work for this print? And then we go back and forth, but she holds the silhouette front.
So you try your own designs first to see how it feels, but when you are marketing it, like I think like the first impression that you get when you look at these bold prints, it kind of reminds me of 1960s fashion in a way, or 70s even.
Like psychedelic, you mean?
Like psychedelic,
right?
but also I just love color, I think like if you can wear color nicely. By the way, I'm going to show you one of the dresses that is kind of in that. I should have worn it today.
Hey.
I was thinking like Marika is coming, what can I wear to, but who is it for? Like who is buying your stuff?
Yeah, so our customers are, in terms of like what they do, they're creative.
Women who want to
Yeah, the women who are, and
Express.
not just women, people,
Yeah.
different identities, like wear our clothes. It's just everyone who wears our stuff is really not afraid of color and print, and loves the idea of like wearing art and just like, I don't know, like really
Interesting.
bold, interesting,
Wearing
playing.
art.
Yeah.
That's how you
And-
see it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
see it
do
like
you-
that, yeah.
Wow. Now, tell me about Nino,
Yes.
who is your husband.
Yes.
And it's quite an unusual name, right?
Yes,
Especially in
for
Georgia.
for
because-
Georgia.
For Georgia.
Yeah.
Because here, every other woman is called Nino.
Yeah, all my friends are Ninos. and
really?
relatives,
After
and it's
Saint
like everyone.
Nino.
Yeah.
Tell me about your husband.
So Nino, he's a musician. He's also a designer now, like a self-taught.
Where did you meet?
We met in Prospect Park in New York, in Brooklyn, Prospect Park, and it was Neil Young tribute concert.
And now Nino is helping you with the company.
Yeah, he is helping us a lot. We go back and forth in terms of when I'm creating prints. He's like, I don't know, my like second set of eyes, and I couldn't do it without him. It's just like we really are creative together.
But there are also difficulties working with your husband and being in
Yeah.
close proximity all the time. No?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. What are the challenges, and how do you deal with that?
So the challenges, I mean, we have very collaborative relationship. Like we did everything, and we
Yes.
really are always doing this stuff together. We're that
Having
kind of
fun.
couple. Yeah, having fun. So it's very like, it's kind of fiery because you learn how to work together. So you, I don't know, you kind of know when to snap back. You always are like open, that's the whole thing. You don't hold anything back. So sometimes to other people it might appear that we're like bickering all the time, but
Which is normal.
But we're working,
Yeah.
We're just not holding anything back,
I
So
work
we're
with
always
my
like,
husband.
no,
Yeah.
and it's just, it's totally like, it's good.
He must be very proud of you.
That I don't know. I can ask him.
Does he wear any of your prints? Does it exist in his wardrobe?
Yeah, he has like a different color of this in a jacket because not everything. He's not
Is this
really
jeans,
like.
by the way?
Yeah, it's kind of like a jean.
Like cottony jeans.
Yeah.
Do you think you are being true to yourself and authentic? And what exactly is authenticity in your work process?
There's no such a thing. I don't feel like there's a place you can just like fall into. For me, it's really about work, meaning like art, like you gotta do it, for it to be, it's like a machine that doesn't start without you,
Yeah, you can't be just thinking about
Yeah.
it, you need to be doing.
Yeah, you
actual-
really need to be doing it, and then more you do it, better it gets or something, like more you inspire yourself. So it's really like, for me, it's, based on the hard work or something, like, because it's not always fun, like even like, with painting or with a business, like with art is just really like almost like no compromise because it's just me doing it. With business, there are compromises because you have to aim it to a customer, you got to sell it in the end.
You are being authentic self.
Yeah, you have to
Because
be authentic in it,
remember
yeah.
when you were talking about the prints and when you said when you were trying to do something what you thought your
Yeah.
customers would like and it wouldn't really sell, and going back to your own creativity and authenticity.
The authentic word is tricky for me. I feel like it's more like, okay, like true to yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah.
True to yourself. Yes, because the truth to, what I was trying to say, the process of true to yourself sometimes is like you do a thing and then you don't like it and you think you're true to yourself, but then you need to make it to disregard this thing. So that's what I was trying to get to. It's really like work, like really do a lot to then figure out, like start up your creativity and keep it. And it's a very fragile thing, this authentic or true to yourself. Yeah. You need to nurture it. Yeah.
Right. What you're saying is you need to be doing it
You need
and
to be
doing
doing
it
it,
a
yeah.
lot to figure out
Yeah.
what is the
You can't relax.
essence.
Yeah. Like you're making the essence. Yeah, I feel like I cannot fall back on it. It's because it's always, you're inventing it again and again, and you're making something new. So you can't, yeah. So it's about, so okay, so authenticity, I guess, is the process for me.
Interesting.
It's not like one thing, but it's always an emotion.
So now, given all your background, you know, your first arrival in the US and going through different stages of your career, you have now arrived at a certain point where you have your own 2 companies and your fashion label is doing well.
We've been in business since 2021. Like again, during COVID, it was like really slow start, but we did really well from right away because we just, I don't know, we put out a product that was so joyful in the right time, and I think people are like, like it just like hit a spot. It was because it was joyful for us. And we're like, I think the world needs this now. I mean, it's clothes. It's not like world really needs clothes, actually. But in terms of that world, you know, yeah,
yes.
just like if you're gonna put anything out, you gotta put out something that brings joy. Yeah, so it's hard, but we're growing like pretty fast. And
I love what you said
Yeah.
about wearing art. And also bringing joy.
yeah,
Definitely. I hope it will resonate with our listeners and viewers. And there's so much more I'd love to talk to you about, but I think we'll have to wrap up.
Next time.
And I just want to thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And
This
I'm
was
so
much
glad
fun.
I'm so glad I cheers.
I'm so glad we
met
met.
you and we've recorded this. And
Yeah.
I wish you all the success. And by the way,
You too, with
thank
your
you.
project. I can't wait to listen
trying to
to
give the
Yeah.
space and room
I
for
think it's
to
amazing.
hear inspiring stories about women like yourself.
And yourself.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for watching and listening. And if you have any burning questions for Marika, please leave them in the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel wherever you're listening or watching it. In the next episode of The Remesh Show, I'll be talking to Maka Chhaidze, who has set up an inclusive dance company. Her mission is to underline the talent and ability for professional dance among people born with disabilities. Stay tuned.